From the Cronkite Studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
A raging wildfire forcing evacuations near Flagstaff tonight. And now the monsoon is taking aim, keeping fire crews on their feet as they battle the blaze.
Plus, Feed a Meter help the homeless, the new Phoenix initiative to get people off the streets and back on track.
I think it's really fascinating that you could look at a lizard and understand something about ourselves.
And the Gila monster may not be a monster at all. Turns out its venom could actually help people, not hurt them. We'll tell you how.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Owen Evans.
And I'm Kyla Wilcher. Thank you for joining us. Our big story tonight, the museum fire burning out of control north of Flagstaff.
The flames have spread rapidly since the wildfire began Sunday. So far, the fire's been more than 1,800 acres and forced evacuations for everyone who lives, works, or accesses a home in the area.
The evacuation, which went into effect last night, will help firefighters go in to burn out grass and other fuels in hopes of stopping the fire from entering those neighborhoods.
But the recent rise in monsoon activity could pose some challenges for crews. Fire officials say the gusty winds are fanning the flames and can quickly change the fire's direction. We've got full team coverage headed your way.
Lindsay is tracking the fire forecast, but let's go first to Amanda Slee with more on the monsoon's possible impact on the fire lines. Amanda?
Although yesterday in Flagstaff they saw some light rain, a spokesperson with the museum fire says moisture was so little it didn't work in their favor.
This wildfire has become the top priority within the western U.S. and is at 0% containment. Officials say they are making sure people are ready, especially if the weather causes changes in the fire.
Just given the outflow winds that you get with the thunderstorms coming in like that, and it can change, you could have 5 to 10 miles per hour, then go up to a gust of 30.
With the chance for monsoon rains the rest of the week, experts say the higher humidity and rainfall could help diminish the spread of the fire.
But of course, rain on fire brings other concerns as well. There's a potential for the post-fire scar burning. The rain that falls on the hydrophobic soils needs to run off very quickly, and we'll be watching those areas that might be sensitive or at higher risk for flooding very closely.
He also says the current forecasts show a busy week for thunderstorms, with active storms through Thursday or Friday, then becoming more scattered after that.
Governor Doug Ducey was in Flagstaff this afternoon, and he declared an emergency, which will send state money to Coconino County to help fight with this wildfire. Live in Phoenix, Amanda Slee, Cronkite News.
Mother Nature put on quite a show last night as Monsoon Storm swept through Pinal County. Here are some videos and photos viewers like you shared on social media.
Santan Valley, Queen Creek, and Apache Junction got hit the hardest, but the East and West Valleys both saw some action as well, with scattered showers and blowing dust.
The storms causing several power outages. APS and SRP showed more than 10,000 people were without power at the peak of the storms last night. Crews worked overnight to get power returned to most customers.
And we could be in for some more storms tonight. Lindsay Amundsen is standing by with a closer look at the fire forecast and how the monsoon may play a big part. Lindsay?
We have multiple fires burning throughout the state currently, but with strong gusty winds up to 50 miles per hour blowing to the west, mixed with low humidity and hot temperatures, makes for very dangerous fire conditions. We'll also have isolated storms throughout the night, which could potentially bring lightning, making things even worse. In the broadcast center, Lindsay Amundsen.
Remember, when the storms strike, share your photos and videos with us online by using the hashtag Cronkite News, and you can help us tell the Monsoon 2019 story.
The maiden speech is a Capitol Hill tradition, a new senator's first speech on the floor of the Senate. In her maiden speech today, Arizona Senator Kyrsten Sinema focused on two men she said guide her as a lawmaker: Army Sergeant Daniel Summers and former Senator John McCain. Summers, who struggled with PTSD after tours in Iraq, took his own life in 2013 after failing to get treatment from the VA. Sinema introduced the Daniel Summers Network of Support Act to help veterans like Summers, which she said is important to voters. But it can only pass if lawmakers work together instead of focusing on petty politics and the latest tweet. A common-sense approach she praised McCain for.
One of Senator McCain's last acts in the Senate was to shepherd last year's annual defense bill into law. The same annual bill which this year includes our Daniel Summers Network of Support Act. I hope that we are making Senator McCain proud with such important work.
Also happening in D.C. today, the acting Secretary of Homeland Security announced a new plan that will subject thousands of immigrants to expedited removal, which means they can be deported without a hearing before an immigration judge. This process applies to any undocumented immigrant who cannot prove they have lived in the U.S. continuously for 2 years or more. But unaccompanied children and immigrants planning to apply for asylum will not face expedited removal. How soon will smart cities be a reality? And who will lead the way? Arizona officials joined others at a congressional forum in Washington today to try to answer those questions. Cronkite News reporter Julianne Paras is live in our Washington bureau with more on that story. Julian?
Self-driving cars, community-wide wireless access, all visions of the smart city of the future. But there are several steps that have to be taken before we get to that vision. Or in the case of one college campus, not steps exactly. Northern Arizona University, for example, is testing rolling robots that deliver food on campus to make student life a little easier.
Hello, here's your delivery.
NAU and Arizona State University were both represented today at Smart Campuses 101, a briefing in Washington where experts talked about the importance of promoting technology on college campuses and how that can be a stepping stone to smart cities.
How do we make living in a particular community as well as on a university campus a good thing for not only the students and the staff, but for the citizens that also benefit from the presence of our institutions.
Rolling robots aren't the only technology being tried out on college campuses. Speakers at the event talked about clean campus transportation and renewable energy systems, and sensors that can detect breaks in water lines, an important consideration in a state like Arizona.
In our case, it's the students on campus at ASU, but it's also the communities in which our campuses sit. And so focusing on how we can improve mobility, decrease water consumption, decrease energy consumption, and just increase their quality of life overall really is the main point for me.
And for other Arizona institutions as well. Not only is ASU looking to make living better for its students and their neighbors, but it is collaborating with schools like University of Arizona and Northern Arizona University to accomplish the same goals, says Burrell.
ASU, U of A, and NAU are collaborating on regional initiatives that are going to bring smart technologies to our communities of all sizes.
The event was sponsored by the Congressional Caucus on Smart Cities, and the ultimate goal for Bowman, Burrell, and the others here is to make the laboratory of campus life the reality of smart cities.
Through the research that we do together, through the practitionering that we do of applying and testing these kinds of environments, we're going to make living in Arizona a much better thing.
But this is Washington, which means speakers at today's event said they were looking to Congress to adopt policies that will pave the way for the future they envision. In Washington, Julian Paras, Cronkite News.
Arizona has won a $90 million federal highway grant to help expand and improve Interstate 17 north of Phoenix. ADOT says the grant will be used as part of a $320 million project to add lanes along 23 miles of I-17. Construction is to be completed by 2023.
Today, the city of Phoenix launched a new program aimed at helping those who are homeless, one parking meter at a time.
Cronkite News reporter Tanaya Williamson was at the unveiling. Tanaya?
These harsh conditions in your life, in the end, when you make it to your goal, it just seems all that much richer and sweeter. So that's why I chose the persimmon, and it just happened to align with the topic.
The topic is homelessness, and local artist Lydia Quinones has put her own distinctive art in one of these 4 meters.
It's a painting of a persimmon, and the persimmon in the Asian culture is seen as a symbol of wisdom.
And part of that message means awareness, which is why the city of Phoenix unveiled today their giving meters. Donations will go to Phoenix Cares, the city's homeless prevention program. They will be located in different parts of downtown and include a mobile meter to be placed in high foot traffic areas.
We've heard a lot from people in our community. They're concerned, they're generous, they want to do something to make life easier for people experiencing homelessness.
According to the Maricopa Association of Governments, there were 6,614 people experiencing homelessness on the night of January 21st, 2019. That's 316 more than during last year's count. For the 6th straight year, unsheltered homelessness, meaning people living on the streets, in desert washes, cars, or another place not meant for habitation, increased. Councilwoman Deborah Stark led the initiative to have the meters installed. She says she got the idea while visiting a cousin in California.
He goes, well, it's to help curb panhandling and help in homelessness. And I thought, wow, that's a great idea. Let me bring it back to the city of Phoenix. So I did.
Each meter is unique in its own way, designed to remind those facing homelessness there are better days ahead.
I'm getting rid of my coins. I know it's going to a good purpose. I know that I'm bettering my community. I love my community. I want to help my community. So yeah, I think they're really great.
Another great thing about the giving meters is that they function like a regular parking meter. They accept coins, including pennies, and even credit and debit cards. Reporting at the digital desk, Tanaya Williamson, Cronkite News.
She's large but in charge. Boom.
Coming up on Cronkite News, being comfortable in your own skin. How a rising drag star here in the Valley hopes to inspire other queens of color.
And the FDA releases a new ad suggesting vaping is a gateway to teens smoking other drugs. So what do you think? The full story after the break.
All of its children had come to the Mother Church of Country Music. It was almost like a badge of honor that you had to bring your culture with you to the table. That's why Bob Wills and his guys brought us Western music. That's why Hank Williams brought the South with him from Honky Tonks. Johnny Cash brought the Black Lamb Dirt of Arkansas. Bill Monroe brought music out of Kentucky bluegrass music. Willie Nelson brought his poetry from Texas. Patsy Cline brought her heartache from Virginia. I mean, it was the most wonderful parade of sons and daughters of America that brought their hearts and their souls and their experiences, and it gave us a great era in country music.
Cronkite Noticias is the Spanish-speaking division of Cronkite News, covering topics such as economics, education, sustainability, immigration, and border relations. Cronkite Noticias strives to serve the Spanish-speaking community in Arizona. Under the guidance of prominent Spanish-speaking professionals, students at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism develop content for our broadcast partner, Univision, as well as on Facebook and Twitter. Explore Cronkite Noticias at cronkitenoticias.azpbs.org.
The art of drag dates back to ancient times when men would play women in theatrical plays. Now the Phoenix drag community is showcasing diversity and inclusion.
Cronkite News reporter Jessie Jo Parley spoke with an emerging Arizona drag star about the desire to inspire others to be comfortable in the skin they're in.
As drag grows in popularity and familiarity, all kinds of people are trying it out. From ethnicity to size, drag is helping people find their own identities right here in Arizona. With the help of makeup, wardrobe, and lots of glitter, Phoenix resident Stephen Janelle transforms into rosy cheeks.
She's large but in charge. Boom.
Janelle is an up-and-coming drag queen in Arizona, something he's always wanted to do.
My grandma, when I came out, I remember her dropping me off at Pride and like, does this mean you want to dress up in girls' clothes now? And at the time, I was like a sophomore in high school, and I was like, no, Grandma, I just want to go to Pride and just have fun. But now thinking about it, I'm like, yeah.
Janelle is part of a drag family of queens of color. He's hoping to expand the perspective on being a black drag queen.
There are a lot of negative stereotypes about queer people of color or even queens of color. I'm trying to like stay out of like the realm of what everyone thinks of queens of color, because they think about them doing like hip hop music and certain types of genres.
Black drag performers influence drag, especially in language and style, but they don't get much credit.
I think that Black drag queens created and contributed and continue to offer a particular kind of drag performance that encapsulates Black urban working class expression and kind of performance craft.
Janelle says being a Black drag queen hasn't always been easy. That's why he wants to be a role model for other people of color and people of all sizes.
I want to use my drag as kind of a voice for the bigger LGBTQ kids who are scared to be themselves just because they are large or overweight. And I kind of want to be that person to inspire others.
Janelle says drag has helped him find a new identity. He hopes others will also find their identity.
Yes, people call you names and hate on you and do things to make you feel bad, but you're not alone. Somebody is there to help you and support you and help you get through this.
Janelle hopes to continue his drag career and maybe even end up on RuPaul's Drag Race. But for now, he's happy performing as much as he can in Arizona. In the studio, Jesse Jopali, Cronkite News.
A street magician and vaping.
You wouldn't think they'd go together, but the FDA is hoping their new anti-vaping ad will work its magic on kids who think vaping is safer than cigarettes.
I'm going to put it into your hand, like that. Okay, this is what I'm going to do, okay? Okay, here we go. Watch very carefully. Boom.
The ad says it's not magic, it's statistics. So here are the stats. The FDA says as many as 80% of middle and high school students don't think regularly smoking e-cigarettes is all that harmful, but teens who vape are more likely to start smoking cigarettes.
And the FDA said last year vaping increased almost 80% among high schoolers and 50% among middle schoolers. Since 2017, that brings it to 3.6 million students total. So we want to hear from you now. Do you think vaping is a gateway to teens smoking other drugs? Definitely or no way?
Just go to our Cronkite News Twitter feed to join the conversation and vote in our live interactive poll.
Don't go away. After the break, we take a look at how this monster's venom may be helping humans.
I'm Judy Woodruff, anchor and managing editor of the PBS NewsHour. The journalists of tomorrow face a fast-changing media landscape, but quality news remains vitally important to our communities, our country, and our world. At ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, students learn solid, reliable reporting, holding the powerful accountable, and rebuilding the public's trust. The Cronkite School and Arizona PBS, preparing the next generation for a stronger future of journalism.
A Gila monster is a large, heavy-bodied lizard native to the southwestern U.S. and northwestern Mexican state of Sonora.
This unique reptile contains venom, but it doesn't use it to subdue its prey like snakes. However, the venom is proven to successfully treat diabetes.
Take a look at how scientists at ASU are studying this species.
They evolved from ancestors that were in warm, wet, tropical environments, and they've managed to survive here in the desert.
She's working with Gila monster expert Dale DiNardo to map the iconic lizard's DNA and how it evolved from prehistoric reptiles.
In many ways, they're not a monster by any means. They're really rather be left alone, and they spend a lot of time wandering the desert looking for nests of other vertebrates, bird eggs, small mammals, reptile eggs.
Unlike many lizards, the Gila monster cannot regrow its tail, but its big back appendage does have another survival skill.
They lost that ability, and instead they store fat in their tails that allows them to survive in this really harsh environment.
They can go months and months without eating only several meals in a given year, and that'd be adequate not just to live, but actually to thrive and reproduce.
There's a peptide in their venom, which is actually just saliva, that is used now to treat type 2 diabetes.
So Melissa, by sequencing the genome, we can target and look at specific genes and see if they're upregulated compared to other lizards or other desert species, and really get a good understanding of what changes have occurred in them to enable them to do some of these things.
I'm mainly interested in sex differences, so they're sex chromosomes, so we can look at Gila monsters to study general features about how sex is determined across life.
In humans, that trait is inherited from the genes of our biological parents.
We are XX, XY sex determination, so that means it's the sperm producers who can make a sperm with an X or a Y, and that determines the sex of the offspring. In Gila monsters, it's swapped. So it's the females that make an egg that has a Z or a W, and it parallels our sex determination system. I think it's really fascinating that you could look at a lizard and understand something about ourselves.
Genetic testing creates millions of data points for biologists to explore, but organizing and decoding the files is an enormous task. Computer software can be extremely helpful in calculating genetic results and finding important patterns in the DNA sequences.
When we sequence a genome, we get a bunch of reads back. We get the little puzzle pieces. And some of them we trust more than others.
The equations help identify special DNA sequences and understand how similar tissues evolved and fit together. Once those pieces are matched, the Gila's genetic puzzle starts to take shape. However, they are still a very long way from seeing how each piece fits together.
And so for this project, what we had to start off doing was make that picture.
By learning how Gila monsters evolved, we can understand their connection to other endangered species and predict how they might adapt to changing climate conditions.
Gila monsters became the first venomous animal to be given legal protection since 1952, and yet little is known about their genetics.
Lindsay Amundsen is joining us once again with a look at our weather the rest of this work week.
Lindsay, when will it be safe for us to wash our cars?
Yeah, definitely not anytime soon. We have the monsoons definitely brought the cooler weather to us here in Arizona. In Phoenix, we're sitting at 103 degrees, 106 over in Lake Havasu. As we head up north, those temperatures definitely continue to drop. 68 in the Grand Canyon, 75 in Flagstaff, and 88 in Payson. As we head into the rest of the week, tomorrow the clouds will be here, 106 degrees, bringing up 108 on Thursday, 110 on Friday, and then our high for the week is on Saturday and Sunday at 111 and 90 through the night, and back down to 105 on Tuesday. Live in the Weather Center, I'm Lindsay Amundsen.
No, this is not running, it's race walking. And believe it or not, it takes some serious technique. I'll explain when Cronkite News returns.
Stay in the know on the go. At Cronkite News, we work hard to report the facts and keep you updated, whether we're on set or on the scene.
Taking it from the studio to the field. So I'm here in South Phoenix.
In Phoenix, we're just a click away. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, or find us online at cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
On the next Arizona Horizon, Democratic Senate candidate Mark Kelly will join us in studio, and we'll speak with the director of the Department of Agriculture's Arizona office about helping rural communities. It's on the next Arizona Horizon.
I'm Amna Navaz. On the next News Hour, Venezuela's former spy master, now a defector here in the U.S. That's Tuesday on the PBS NewsHour.
When it comes to track and field, most people are familiar with running, jumping, and throwing, but some athletes compete in walking. In fact, race walking has been part of Olympic track and field since 1908. I caught up with some young athletes race walking their way to the Junior Olympics. Maria Lopez is no stranger to race walking. She's competed for over 20 years in the little-known sport. Now she coaches for Arizona Athletics Track Club and tries to teach young athletes that there is more to track and field than running.
It's a challenge because no everybody can do that, and I like the form, the technique. It's fun.
Now, this sport takes more than just your average walk in the park. Race walking is all about proper form, like straight legs and planted feet. And without these, competitors can be disqualified.
Learning that technique has been pretty hard, a lot of steps, but once you learn all those steps, you become like an expert.
That technique helps race walking maintain a low injury rate, according to a study from San Diego State University. To ensure competitors are using proper form, like keeping one foot planted at all times, the sport requires judges. But Lopez says they can be hard to find in Arizona, where the race walking community is small. Most races have less than 5 competitors, with some having only 1.
And there's not really enough competition for us not to make it a big competition, so we always get to travel around the country.
The Arizona Athletics race walkers all hope their team grows, and that love for the sport grows as well.
Learning this with everybody else has been a huge experience for me, and I hope it's an experience for everybody else.
Now, 3 of these Arizona race walkers have qualified for the Junior Olympic National Championships, which are currently underway in Sacramento, California.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.